Oh, we still have an audience.
A little one. Welcome back to Man Sharpens Man. This is a very special episode. It's episode number 40. I shouldn't call it special. That puts a high expectation on it. It's episode number 40 anyhow, and that seems significant. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, that's good.
There's significance to it, I feel like, a little bit.
Yeah. Special could go either way, though.
Yeah. I'm 40, and this is the 40th episode. It could be terrible. It could be as terrible as turning 40 was. Turning 40 wasn't really traumatic, Charlie. It wasn't traumatic like people make it out, but it's still terrible to know that I'm in that number now, that 40. I never thought I'd be 40. Like, I never trusted people over fucking, 19. Even as I got older, I was like that. I was like, I don't know if I can trust these adults. I've always been like that.
You're almost double my age.
That's crazy. Almost double. As you get older, that number becomes less and less. The percentage goes down mathematically.
Yeah.
So, like, when you, like when I'm 60 and you're 40, I'll only be like, whatever that is, 20% older than you instead of 50%.
But that's how most
older.
of it. That's how most of you guys are around.
Yeah.
The comics are.
Yeah, there is a pretty common age bracket locally. A bunch of us are 40. Maybe it's a midlife crisis thing. We're all in the crunch. We don't know it. We're just mislabeling it as chasing a dream. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sad. I said this was going to be a great episode. Listen, so pathetic. Oh, we're all 40 and dying. 40 is the new fucking 50, I think. I don't know.
I'm 21 and dying.
21 and dying. We are all dying.
Maybe I'm at my midlife.
You're shot out of the vagina, like they say, like a bullet, basically. You are racing towards death at lightning speed. Whether you die the day you're born or 100 years later, it's still just a blink.
Yep.
Really is. But it's a fun blink. We had good fun last night, didn't we, Charlie? Tell them what we did.
We did.
Where'd we go?
Went to Harvey's on the mall.
Harvey's on the mall.
On Bird Dick Street in
on
Kalamazoo.
Bird Dick Street, which is weird. They have a street named Bird Dick.
It's vulgar.
I think that's what Big Bird wanted to name Sesame Street. He's like, we should name this Bird Dick Street because I pimp here.
Yeah, maybe they have the comedy show there. Maybe that was them that named that street.
Maybe it was. They're like, we need something funny about this comedy show. It's a bar up some stairs. That's kind of funny to me. It's like, you're not going to get that. You're not going to sell a lot of drinks at the top of some creaky stairs.
Yeah.
Because you remember you have to walk down.
You
They should have a fun
pointed that
slide out of
me,
that place. Like a little twirly thing. You go up there, get sloshed, and then you can slide your way down to the bottom.
You could sue. You could get really drunk and fall down and sue them if you wanted to.
I was thinking about that. I was like, you know what? Maybe if this comedy
Wonder
thing
how
don't
many-
work out, I'll come do an open mic.
Wonder how many drunk people have died falling down those stairs.
They look dangerous as shit.
Yeah.
It looks like someone's converted house. It looks like someone used to live there and they turned it into a bar.
Yeah.
But still, that's what you got to do when you're doing comedy. That's where you start. That's the bottom rung. We're
And
on
they
the bottom
can't
rung,
decide
kinda.
which sports teams to root for. I noticed that too.
You notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have one of every kind of sports team. That's very, whatever you call it. They're playing every side. That's not even playing both sides.
Yeah.
They're playing 32 fucking sides at once.
Yeah.
They can't make up their mind. They're just like, we like everyone. Whoever you like, if you'll buy a beer from us, we like them as well.
We were thinking about buying some of those posters, but I'm not really into sports, so.
Just buy them just to put up so people think you're tougher, Charlie.
Yeah.
You can post them up. People will think you're a badass.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the Shawshank Redemption where the guy hides the hole in the wall with the fucking poster?
No.
It's a stupid movie, kind of. Like, it's a movie about a guy in prison that escapes, and he's like an accountant and shit. Super not interesting. Everyone's probably either seen it too many times on TNT on Saturday afternoons or not seen it at all. It's one of them kind of movies, but the guy breaks out of prison, and he, like, hides the hole in his wall that he crawls out of with, like, a poster. And the poster's, like, taut and against the wall. It's like, how would you put the poster up after you went in the hole? You couldn't do it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work. And posters in prison, that's the corniest fucking shit I ever seen. No one had a poster in prison. There's no posters. You're not even allowed to hang your pictures up.
Chish.
It's pretty strict rules in there. Can't hang some picture. I can't even decorate in here. But people don't care. They still decorate their cells. You should have seen some of the corny people. Like, when I first went in there, you could order out a JCPenney catalog. Motherfuckers were ordering rugs and robes and shit. Their cells looked like Hugh Hefner's pad.
Nice.
Pretty swank.
Yeah.
Pretty weird. But they were allowing people to order a lot of weird shit back then. When I first went to prison, I couldn't allow. They were ordering hot plates and video game systems and shit all of a sudden, and like they cut that shit out within the first year of me being in there. Trust me. People were seizing upon some loopholes. That's all that was. Matt Georgievich went with us for comedy too. That's a dedicated motherfucker. Talking about some dedication. He drove from Sault Ste. Marie to Traverse City, which is a long ways, spent the night at a stranger's house, essentially, which was me, and then did comedy here in a strange town, navigated the strange town to do a few different little errands, and then the next day, after staying the night, we drove to Kalamazoo, which is even farther away, and did another open mic, and then pulled an all-nighter to drive home to his sweet bride. That's a dedicated comedian and husband and worker. That's a good motherfucker.
And he's got about 9 inches. And
Damn.
the Sioux. And the Sioux.
And the Sioux.
9
He's
inches
got
of
9
snow.
inches of snow. Dang.
Weather report, they got 9 inches of snow. And the
9.
Sioux.
They were probably 9 hard inches, too, because it
Yeah.
always gets pretty cold up there.
9.
Comes down wet,
Yeah.
and sets up hard. Ew. The weather could be very sexual. Very sexual. I think in some of the Mexican countries, they have like a chick strip when she does the weather or something. I'm pretty sure I've seen that.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty sexy Latina
Sexy
weather.
Latina weather. The weather's always fine, so they just got to put a hot chick on there to get you even look like it. I know it's going to be 90 and hot again. We live by the fucking equator. There's no point in a weather report anymore. Probably gets like that. I don't know. A little redundant.
We had to do current event reports in high school in a history class. And I would report on the weather a lot of the time.
Technically, you're right. It is a current event.
Yeah.
And it is an event. Like right
Yeah.
now, thankfully for us as a human species, it's a calm event. But when you look at other planets and shit, like the Earth, a couple few degrees tip too far, and all of a sudden this place could turn into a burning hellhole not fit for anybody.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's exactly calm right now, 'cause if you were outside without clothing,
Oh, it's cold as shit
you
here
would
where we're
die
at.
in about
in
half an hour.
moments. You'd probably hope for death quicker than it actually took you.
Yeah.
I've been
So I-
told and read that freezing to death is actually
Yeah.
pretty comfortable.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. They say that cold therapy is good for depression. Maybe it has some kind of correlation. Like soaking in, like taking cold showers and soaking in ice tubs and shit. They say that's good for depression. Did you know that? It's a weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you told me that, actually.
It's like I think maybe it's like just shocks you, and it's like, okay, this is how bad your life could be in this bucket of ice. Now climb out and realize how good it is.
Yeah, you got to survive for a second.
Yeah. Once in a while, you got to be reminded how, the Earth is a wonderful fucking place. It kind of like loves and it breathes us. I always say that the Earth breathes us. Like you don't breathe, the Earth like gives you that breath almost. It's like the Earth does love you, man. That's some corny shit, isn't it? Told you this was a very special 40th episode.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be good. You want the old joke of the week? Here's the old joke, because I just heard it earlier. It was hilarious. And it's definitely an old joke by the sounds of it. How many tickles does it take to tickle an octopus?
Tentacles.
Yep, 10 tickles.
I knew it.
That's horrible, isn't
I heard
it?
that one, yeah.
That is a horribly old, corny joke. We'll think of another one before the end, I'm sure.
It's 'cause octopuses
I
have
think of a
tentacles.
dirty one. It's clean jokes
Tentacles.
suck. It's got to be a dirty joke. Did cranking the vape up to an extra temperature?
Yeah.
Trying to get the sponge,
Getting the vape
bovine spongiform encephalitis from that thing?
Getting the vape out, guys.
Do you know what bovine spongiform encephalitis is? That's mad
Cow
cow
disease?
disease.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, you knew it. I knew you'd know it. You know enough sciencey words. That is a huge battery. Wonder if they
Yeah.
started making dildos with lithium-ion batteries for them girls that just are destroying D batteries. With like a USB port for your dildo.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be USB chargeable dildos by now.
They probably all are.
People love shit if you can charge it by a
Bluetooth.
USB. They love it. You can sell anything. If it'll run off a USB port, you can sell
Bluetooth,
anything.
Siri. You probably Siri a dildo.
Yeah, Siri dildo. Siri, fire this bitch up to warp speed. We're about to get twatty. Warp speed, twatty. Warp speed, twatty. That's disgusting. But no, people do. They eat that shit up. Fucking any USB device, Charlie.
Huh.
If you would have told me when I was a kid that I could plug something into my fucking Xbox, which is a video game console, that would get me stoned, I wouldn't have believed you. But I can plug my little e-vape pin in there, my little dab rig. I can plug it into my video game system and charge it up. And then, so it's like my video game thing is like my Nintendo is getting high with me almost now.
Yeah, that's the future.
I felt like I dreamt of that when I was a kid almost. Like I wish I could get stoned with you, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Then I grew up and I could get stoned with my Xbox.
That's the future Steve Jobs created.
It
for
is
us.
Steve Jobs. Thank God he isn't alive. Can you imagine how many sexual allegations would come out?
Yeah.
That's just what happened. You see Senator Al Franken, he called it good. He was tired of dealing with that shit. women after women was coming after him, saying that he like touched their butt during photo
Yeah.
ops. It's like he probably just has a lazy arm. I don't know. Like if someone touches my butt during a photo op, even like we always have to pose for those comedy things. I'm always very respectful of the female space, but once in a while, like I felt a guy's hand touch my junk a couple times, and I know it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you're taking a photo, shit happens. Is all I'm saying. I'm not sticking up for Al Franken. I'm just saying. They got some girls coming out against him
sometimes
for some like
taking a photo when you have
weak sauce.
You have like 10 seconds to all get together for a photo. It can
Isn't
be
that a weird moment?
Yeah.
And you all have to try to look happy for the thing.
Yeah.
Hey, all look happy, even though 3 of you ate a bag of dicks and feel like shit right now and are going to go home and eat Reese's in your bed till you fall asleep to make up for it. You still have to go up there and smile through it. It's a weird thing. Make them smile, Charlie. Make them smile.
Yeah.
So you've been loving being a comedian, Charlie? Are you loving the life?
Yeah.
Driving to Kazoo and shit is worth it.
As much as I can.
It's worth it. We got the big show coming up this Saturday.
Yep.
Yep, this
The
Saturday.
9th, yeah.
I will put this up tomorrow probably. I get a bunch of shit tonight, so I'll post this in the morning. So today is Thursday. So I'll post this on Friday. So if you're listening to this, get to Studio Anatomy tomorrow, Saturday the 9th. Got Jason Alt coming up. He was a damn good host.
Very good host, yeah.
I don't know if he's ever going to listen to my
favorites.
podcast, but if he does, goddamn it, Jason Alt, I got to give you some host credit. Like, you're a funny motherfucker, too, so I'm sure you could do a bit, but that hosting bit he did was awesome. What a great host.
Yeah. I think most of these people listen to this podcast.
Yeah, too many people in America are listening to this podcast. We need to drop a few listeners, actually. I think we're up to at least 10. We have 10 listeners.
Yeah.
I need to promote it more. I used to promote it way more, Charlie. I would talk about it everywhere I went, but I haven't been doing that lately, so it's kind of my own fault. I'll start promoting it more. Like when I go do comedy shows and shit, it should be something I like give a little shout out at the end, like, hey, check out my shit.
Yeah, true.
It's like one hand washes the other. I might as well have, teeter-tot this motherfucker. You pump one up off the other, I guess. I don't know. Business speculation. I can't believe we lost our audience. I had my wife, my daughter chilling here, and they just pieced out because they thought they couldn't talk in the background. The mics wouldn't have picked them up, Charlie. I can't believe they didn't want to listen to our awkward
Just
podcast
a bunch of bullshit.
conversation.
Just
shit.
entertainment bullshit we have to go through,
Yeah.
which
Crowds
shows us
walking
life.
out on us like that.
Most of the time you're performing for no one.
It does happen like that sometimes, don't it?
Yep.
But that's okay with me. You know why I'm okay with that, Charlie? A lot of my fucking life I've been performing for my own brain. Like, I've just been sitting in my own cell thinking of funny shit because I'm tired of watching Full House reruns.
Yeah, part of it's got to be for yourself.
It does have to be. Make yourself laugh first.
Yeah.
Like, if I think of something that seems witty, but it doesn't hit me and make me think it's funny, I won't say that shit. Like, I'll think of some shit that's kind of half-ass witty where I'm like, oh, that's kind of witty. But then I'll think about it and I'll be like, no, it doesn't tickle my funny bone, so I'm not going to put it out of my mouth.
Yeah, I like doing things that excite me that I like.
Exactly. Comedy is exciting. Quite an excitement. If you're not doing stand-up comedy, get out there. Stand-up comedy is starving for people. We're like I'm surprised there's not a commercial like the U.S. Army on TV. Like, we need more comedians.
And we need more podcasters.
Yeah.
Because we really need some competition.
That's hilarious. No, we don't.
We don't have...
There's not enough podcast competition. That's why the show is so dull. It's supposed to be Man Sharpens Man, and there's no podcast getting with us for us to sharpen up against.
Yeah, there's no drama. There's no beefs.
We do need to find us like a little sister podcast. I know you want to start yours up, and you should soon, but we should find like another one in a different state so we can cross state lines and reach out to them and be like, look.
Maybe Puerto Rico.
Ooh, Puerto Rico. You
What
hear?
if they have
I say that pretty sexy. I almost turned myself on. Puerto Rico. The little rolling R.
Yeah, I can't roll the tongue.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yep.
Or else you could say Charlie.
Yep.
Charles. Charles.
Could be a Spanish name.
Could be a Spanish name. I don't know. What is Charlie in Spanish, I wonder?
Carlos.
Carlos. Charlito's Way. Charlie's Way. That should be the name of your first comedy album, Charlie's Way. Look back on this day and be like, John told me I should name it Charlie's Way. Make some jokes about the movie. Have you ever watched Carlito's Way?
Nope.
That's your new homework. Like, sometimes I'll give you music homework. Sometimes I give you movie homework. I can't believe you've never seen Carlito's Way. That is a thug-ass movie. That is one of those movies that makes you want to grow up to be a criminal, though.
Huh.
It's terribly good. It doesn't really make... I don't want to grow up to be a criminal. I'm just saying. It does... Like, it portrays criminality in a very... I don't know what you'd say. Heroic way. because this guy like gets out of the joint, and he's trying to get his life straight and make a bunch of money. So he goes into business with some people, and he used to sell heroin, so people think he still does, and it gets real complicated. And the gangs and the mafia all getting involved with him because he used to be involved and he can't get out, and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but it's a damn good movie. It's got a lot of shit. It's got like Al Pacino in it or something, too.
Huh.
It's a good-ass movie, Carlito's Way.
Sounds almost like The Sopranos.
Yeah, The Sopranos was a good show. The Sopranos pretty much put the nail in the coffin for other mafia shit for a while, I think. I think that mafia'd people out. They're like, you know, we've seen every little story, and everybody's been in a trunk, and we've buried a bunch of people in the fucking desert. We're over it. We know what it. You opened casinos and went to Cuba. We've done the whole fuck. We know. We get it. They want the new flavor. They like gang shit though. People eat that criminal gang shit up. Nat Geo and all them channels. They have a nonstop flow of Drugs Inc. and fucking all this other kind. Like people eat that shit up. I don't know why it's so fascinating to people. It's really weird to me because I lived around it so much. So I guess I have an aversion to it.
Because it's foreign.
People in prison, Charlie, brag about the most terrible things you can imagine.
Yeah, it's not foreign there.
No, it's not foreign in there.
To a housewife or whatever.
Yeah, I guess it's something shocking.
Cocaine dealing. It's probably foreign.
Selling big piles of cocaine and fucking pimping hoes is very foreign to them.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They have all kinds of shit on there. They have pimps. They have fucking weird. They have just. And criminals will come out. They'll wear. Like, did you watch that Jeff Ross special that was on TV?
No.
He had a little special where he went down by the border wall at one of the border towns and did like some comedy next to the wall.
Huh.
Because he knows Trump and shit. It was a pretty good little. It was a funny little special. He did some good roasting like he always does, but he was down there and he fucking found a dude that you know what a coyote is. Yeah. It's like the dude that smuggles the people in, and they're always dickheads. Yeah, not the coyote like an animal. He found the coyote that's the guy that smuggles people into the fucking country, and like you know, it's a pretty weird fucking situation. He smuggles them in, and if they can't pay, he makes them work for him and slaves them out. Who knows? There's sex trafficking. Like, coyotes are dirty. They kill people, leave them in boxcars and forget about them, and they die of heat and shit like that. Like, the coyote life is a dirty one. And he actually found, like, a dude in town. Like, the guy, of course, wore a mask and all that shit, but he was willing to say, hey, I'm a coyote, and I do it. And either the guy talked a good game and liked to pretend like he was a coyote, or he was really a coyote that, like, let the, you know, people show up with cameras and interview him and shit. That's weird to me, though, that the criminals let people come in with the cameras and shit like that and film.
It's almost like some rappers, they'll go on interviews and get asked a bunch of questions and say everything. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, just tell their business
about
basically.
It and yeah.
That's some dumb shit.
Possibly, yeah.
That is some dumb, like, that's some good advice I can give people on this show. Don't put your business in the streets trying to be cute on Facebook and shit. Like, you can go on there and do stuff. You can go on there and make friends. Go on there and say funny things. Take a picture of your fucking cat. But don't go on there and, like, sell your goddamn dignity. Don't go, like, it's fucked up what people are doing right now, but it's the same thing. Like, people are going right on there and just, like, giving that shit away for free.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing,
Weird.
Charlie.
But it is, I think it is entertaining because it's foreign.
It is kind of entertaining sometimes.
I think to most people, that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I guess it is kind of entertaining. Well, that's kind of the premise. I wanted to do this show so I could talk about prison shit. Not to glorify it in any way, because prison is not a fun place to go. It's definitely not glorious anyway. Like, I don't think no great shit about it. Like, sometimes I think I tell prison stories as a cautionary tale. Like, they're funny. I try to keep them on the funny edge because lots of funny shit happen in there. But there's crazy shit in there. Like, within my first couple days in there, I seen a guy get his ear chopped off because somebody was trying to stab him in the neck. I thought that was very scary. It was like they had to come back for the dude's ear. Like, they were locking us down and looking for his ear at the same time.
Was that after the Mike Tyson thing?
The Mike Tyson? Oh, after the Mike Tyson bite his ear? Yeah, it was after the ear bite.
Maybe that got more popular.
Yeah. No, they didn't bite it. They were trying to stab him in the neck. And the knife was sliding down the side of his head. Because they were swinging it wildly, so it was like hitting him in the side of the head and sliding down. And they were trying to stab him in the neck. And they ended up cutting his ear off. Yeah. That's a lot of stabbings in order to, like, sever the ear from the side of your head. But the guy lived. He was a white kid named Wedo. I think Wedo means white too, but he was a white gangbanger. He was in, like, the Latin Counts is what it was. Latin Crips, I almost said. Too many dubs. The Latin Counts. In Michigan, they don't have, like, and like you always hear about Crips and Bloods. In Michigan, it's folks and people. I don't know if people know that.
I didn't know that.
You did not know that. It's very similar to Crips and Bloods. It's a red and blue thing. folks and people, and like the folks are like the gangster disciples and shit like that, and then the people are more like the Latin counts and the Latino gangs. So it's like it's almost like a racial thing down in the cities in Detroit and stuff, where like the Mexican gangs are kind of the people and the black gangs are kind of the folks. I almost lost what I was talking about. It's like that's how boring it is to me. Like I was around it so much that it's not necessarily boring to me, but it's like seeing it on TV and stuff. It's just like, I'm tired of this shit. Like I don't watch those shows, as you can imagine. And it's not because I like have a prison flashback. It's just like, I know this shit. It's not shocking to me. Like people do the gross. Like people stand in there. You think sexual harassment in the world is bad? Like them prison guards, the stuff they put up with from people. Do you know what gunning someone down is, Charlie?
Yeah, you told me that.
That's disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm sure people can imagine what gunning someone down is, because you don't have a gun.
Yeah.
All
It
you
doesn't
have is your
involve
other
a
little
real.
firearm.
It's not
yeah.
a real gun.
It's not a real gun. It's a pea shooter.
Yeah.
A pea shooter. Yuck, yuck, yuck. I got these mad puns for you motherfuckers today. Mad puns. Mad puns.
Yeah, good to be here.
It is good to be here. We ran my. I would have been fun to like. You want me to tell you? My daughter left, but I wish she would have stayed here. I was going to talk about her and make her blush. It would have been fun. But I still am going to talk about her a little bit. You know, like I was telling you before the show, she does drag me out of my shell. She drags me out, makes me do stuff. It is fun.
That's good.
It is fun. Like if you need people in
That
your
was
life
my
like
roommate. He's gone now, but he'll be back.
He's down in Texas.
Yep.
All Mexicans got to go check in or something. What's he down there for?
He has his son down there, and he'd like to be able to have his son here,
but no girls like him up here. Oh, he'd like to have that son up here.
Yeah, his son.
Not like another son to fill the void.
No. Yeah,
that
he's
is sad.
single.
Like that's one of the reasons I'm very blessed not
Single
to have
with
children.
his
As I
son.
see people with children that live that hell. There's so many split marriages and split relationships with kids involved, and it's always so painful for everyone. It's like nobody's happy. Like they're either trying to put the screws to each other, and if they're not trying to put the screws to each other, they're trying to pretend like it's all good and they're going to do this thing together even though they're not together, and then it just never works out great. Like I always feel bad for people in that situation.
Yeah, it's complicated.
But I grew up in the converse situation that can occur that's almost as tragic, where your parents almost just stay together because they got kids and it's easier, but it's real obvious to you that they don't really care for each other that much by the way they talk and act. And it's like there's a lot of that loveless marriage shit going on too. Like that's not a fun thing.
Well, maybe it's okay if you have kids. Maybe you sacrifice the marriage, stay together a little bit.
If you're in a loveless relationship, though, Charlie, this is some life advice for you. It's your fault. Because you're the only motherfucker that can do anything about anything. That's my advice to everybody on everything almost, is it's your fault. Like, when you start looking at shit in life and going, this is my fault. Like, even me. Like, this is crazy shit, Charlie. Full confession, I was in prison for something I didn't do, like I've told you before. But while I was in there, I blamed myself for being in prison, not because I did the crime, but because I didn't defend myself properly in court, apparently. I should have never been in that situation. Like, there's 101 fucking things. Like, my name didn't come to the tip of the police's tongue because I was a great kid. You know what I'm saying? I was known as the little city hoodlum, town hoodlum. I was from a real small town, and I thought it was cute to be fucking hardcore and all that shit. Like, you know, the 90s were stupid. Gangster rap and all that shit, you know. It wasn't like I was obsessed with it, but at the same time, I didn't not try to use it for some type of peacocking or appeal when I was that age. I think a lot of us fall into those traps when we're in our young age. How old are you right now, Charlie? Tell our people how old. I don't know if people know how old Charlie is. Charlie's a young motherfucker.
I'm 21.
21. God damn, Charlie. When I was 21, do you know what I was doing when I was 21? Time. I was in prison, of course. I was in maximum security prison when I was 21, Charlie. But I did get drunk. I got drunk as fuck the day I turned 21. I had a great bunkie. His name was James Honeycutt. I can shout him out because he's dead now, unfortunately. He got shot when he got out of prison. It's a weird thing, but so I guess I can say his name without any kind of copyright infringement. But he was a good motherfucker, Honeycutt was. And on my 21st birthday, he surprised the shit out of me. He woke me up in the morning, like shook me awake in my bunk, because we live in the bunk, we're bunkies, you know what I'm saying? And he blew the biggest hit of weed smoke in my face. And I woke up, he's like, "Wake and bake, bitches, you're 21." And I was just like, I didn't even know he had weed. I literally didn't know weed was on the compound, but he had gotten what's called a spoon, and the spoon is like broken up weed, one chapstick cap full. That's what, and it's $25 for that. So he had gotten like $100 worth of weed, so like 4 chapstick caps, and he'd like roll the whole thing up. He was He was like that. He, wouldn't try to chintz and roll little joints. So woke me up with a big balloon hit to the face, waked and baked for a while, and then after we were up for a minute, he's like, hey, look under the bunk, man. And I looked under the bunk, and there was like, I don't know, 40, maybe 25 to 40 bottles, like 20-ounce bottles full of Spud juice, which is like homemade wine, which done properly is potent as shit. Like, it's very comparable to wine in the world.
Spud juice, that sounds like something else.
It does sound awesome almost, doesn't it?
No,
The weird
like
thing to me is that, like, every state prison has a different name for their homemade hooch. And in Michigan, it just happens to be Spud juice is the most commonly used, like, term for the hooch, the homemade hooch that they make in there. But they never fucking use potatoes.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen potatoes in a recipe, but you would assume that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Spud.
Yeah.
I don't know why they call it that, but that's what they always call it, Spud juice. But it's like a lot of them terms in there, it's weird how old shit gets in there. Like a term will be from the 50s and still be getting kicked around in there. People calling each other cat daddy and shit like that. Like, it's like, what are we, fucking beatniks?
Yeah, so somebody was calling someone a cat on stage the other day, and it took me a few minutes for me to realize they're not talking about a real cat.
Yeah, it's like some
you're
old
white.
beatnik slang.
You're in northern Michigan and you're white.
Yeah, you can't say
You
that. You can't say that smoothly up here.
Yeah. You got to figure out how to clarify that a cat is a person if you're up here.
You're going to have to go, what's up, my human cat, or something. Yeah, if you're white, you should say it in a corny enough way that I know what you're talking about.
Like, what's up, pussy? Instead of calling cat.
Instead of just beating around the bush and calling me a cat.
Yeah.
Get right to the nuts and bolts of this shit and call me a pussy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he fucking made my 25th birthday. He made my 21st birthday pretty fucking nice, Charlie. He was a good dude, man. I was bunkies with him for like 4 years. Like, me and him were bunkies for the longest time I ever bunked with one person. 4 fucking years is a long time. We were in a maximum security prison together, too. It was pretty crazy. It was more like 3 and change now that I'm doing the math in my head. But it was knocking on 4 years. That's still a long time to live with a dude.
Yeah. Get to know someone.
You think you and your roommate are tight. You guys at least have different rooms. Like, you are fucking in the spot with the dude. Like, me and him, we would always kick the hacky sack. We'd always get in trouble. So we'd be on what's called, like, top lock or LOP, and that's where you're not allowed to come out of your cell for shit. So we were always getting in trouble for smoking weed or Spud juice or whatever kind of shit it was. It was almost like a fucking episode of Hogan's Heroes every day. I was trying to get away with shit, and Ein Ukensabuch, like we were just like trying to fight against the fucking Germans. They were the guards. I don't know. I watched too much reruns when I was a kid. But anyhow, we were always in fucking trouble. We'd be in the cell together, and we would like kick hacky sack in the tiny little cell. We'd like hang blankets and shit up between the bunks so it wouldn't go up in there, and just kick hack all day in the cell and just fucking kick it. And we'd have some deep conversations, man. It would make some good podcasting. I guarantee you, if you could have taken some recording equipment back in the day to that cell and let us record, we'd have made some deep shit. Me and him used to kick it on some deep tips.
Yeah. Could be the hacky sacky podcasty.
It would be a hacky sacky prison.
That could be a special of ours. So
this dude, like, he told me, he's like, this is some funny shit. People always like, anytime someone is like, all right, I'm gonna tell you or show you something, but you can't tell anyone. I don't think I've ever been able to hold that information in very good. Like, unless it's like, I don't know, I've just never been able to hold it in very good. Because people always tell you shit where it's like, I'm not gonna be able to not tell people that. But my bunkie, he told me one day, he's like, look, I'm gonna show you something I can do. He's like, but this is the weirdest thing, especially in prison. So you can't tell anybody that I fucking showed you this or that I can do it. But it's going to make you laugh your ass off. And I'm like, all right. So he's pretty suspenseful. The guy was good at comedy a little bit. Like, we were entertaining each other. It was late at night. We were up playing cribbage or some shit, So he's like, all right, hold on. And I'm not even making this shit up. He could lay on the floor, and I'm 100% sure he was doing it. He could just fart as much as he wanted. But he had to lay on the floor on his belly with, like, his chin in a weird fucking position. But you could go down and listen. Like, I got right by the motherfucker's butt with my ear to make sure, because I was like, I feel like he's throwing his voice, something like he's tricking me. So I'm like, I put my ear right near his pants by his butt, and he was farting. 100% sure that there was farts coming out of that butt.
That could be a club act or
he
a
could do it whenever he wanted. He could
like
just fart as much as he wanted. Like, he could fart for, like, we didn't time it, but I bet you he farted the first time for, like, a 30-second count or longer. He said that he, like, when he was a kid, and he told me how he learned he could do it. I'm like, how the fuck did you learn you could fart, man? Like, of course it's a question. Like, I had never tried to fart. Like, I've never tried to, like, suck some air in my butt and then push it back out, but that's what he was doing. So I'm like, how'd you learn you could do that? Like, what was the first time you're like, oh, I need to engulf some air into my anus? And I asked him that. He said he was a kid, He was sitting on the floor like with his hands on his chin, watching cartoons on his belly one day when he was like fucking 11 or something. And he's like, I just got the idea that I thought I could maybe suck air in my butt and push it back out and make myself fart. And I tried and it happened. And he's like, so I worked on it all the time when I was like 11 and 12 and I got super good at it. And he's like, then when I hit like middle school and puberty, I quit doing it, but I've always still had the skill to fart whenever I want. I don't think that's what he got shot for when he got out, but he did get shot when he got out of prison. It's pretty sad.
It's like how Einstein discovered the theory of relativity.
By
Same process.
perpetually farting.
Or thinking about.
Just thinking about it for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, one thing Einstein did do, and this is a fun thing to do, Charlie, and this is like a prison thing that I did, and I didn't even know what it was called until I've gotten out and got a little more educated, but they call it a thought experiment. And that's what Einstein used to do a shit ton of, is thought experiments. And that's where you basically like play a scenario out in your head. And that is how he came up with like the theory of relativity, is they say that he like put himself in like a little ship that moved faster than the speed of light. And while he's like in his imagination moving faster than the speed of light, he's looking around going, okay, now what is stuff around me doing because I'm moving faster than light can move? And because of that, he came up with the idea that like time would move and shit is all relative and blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, E equals MC squared came out of his brain.
Fascinating.
Fascinating shit. And that's why thought experiments are good. That's why it's good to envision like that little corny shit, that like visionary shit, like see yourself where you want to be, like see yourself on HBO specials, Charlie, see yourself doing good comedy. By the way, good job last night down in K-Zoo. I got to give you credit. You took a room that started off looking at you like a retard, telling jokes that they thought were terrible. Like that's what it started off as. Your first 3 jokes in there, they were looking at you like a piece of shit.
Well, the cool thing about my jokes is that they are terrible.
They're not all terrible, Charlie. Like you sprinkle in wisdom and gems in with wonderfully done terrible stuff. And it comes off well to me. But those people down there weren't biting at first. I was proud of you. You turned them around.
I was trying to wake up after 3 hours in the car.
That was a terrifying drive, too. That was a long...
3 to 5 hours in the car down there.
That drive down there killed me, too, man. My butt, my toe was all numb. That was... Like, you almost need to get to town early and go do something for a minute before the show to really be able to get up there and give it your all. I felt
Maybe
like that. Last night was an awesome show for me. Like, I learned a lot because I learned that going up there and just reciting my act with words and not having any kind of, like, enthusiasm behind it isn't really what it's there for. Like,
yeah, I've learned that a few times. I've thought about that a few times
it's like
before.
You kind of think it's
I've had shows like that.
Because I was tired, so I was riding on a whim and a prayer, so I'm just up there just, like, saying some shit, you know? Like, I did my shit. I did it good in a way, but at the same time, I didn't have... And I mean, we're doing for a room of comics.
You can't just sit back and expect it to work because it's worked before.
Exactly.
You know?
You can't do that. You got to let yourself enjoy every time. Even when it's a room full of comics, you got to enjoy it. But last night was pretty much a room full of comics.
Yeah. That happens to me, though, where I start slow and then end strong. I'd rather have that than the other way.
Yeah, the other way is
happened at Dr.
dying
Grin's
a slow
too.
death. Ooh.
Dr.
Starting
Grin's
off good.
too,
I'd rather do
guess
bad the whole time than start off good and end bad.
Yeah.
When you lose them,
ooh,
it's like you just dropped the egg in the kitchen next to the fucking counter and it went underneath a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just slow burn.
Yeah.
Retarded burn.
Retarded burn. He's like a well-honeyed blunt. At first you're like, I put too much honey on yours, and then you're halfway through and it's still burning. You're like, yeah, I'm glad I put honey on here. At first it's popping and running and you're not sure why you put honey on it. But once it slows the burn down and you get that sweet little burn, you're like, now I see why I honeyed this blunt up.
Exactly.
That's how it goes. That is how it goes, Charlie. And you got to work tonight too, don't you?
Yeah.
Last night was a beast. What time did you crawl into your house? About 2:33 or so?
I think it was about 2.
Yeah, I think it was. We got back. I was fairly decent getting home around 2, but still, felt late.
I probably could have died on the way back driving, because I didn't get my windshield wiper fixed and it was still blizzard.
It was still blizzarding.
Yeah, but
you should bring your whip over here, Charlie. This is not really pertinent to the show or very interesting to our listeners, but bring your goddamn car over here one day.
I could have
pull it in here.
my
it's
car
heated.
We
could fix the thing. Well, it's here right now, but I got to go help my mom tonight. But maybe tomorrow, bring the fucker over. I hope man sharpens man, motherfucker. Save some money, and then just give it to me. No, put it towards comedy. That's the thing. Put it towards comedy. We need to start taking a tip can with us for them long travels.
Yeah, I need to
we'll get a monkey.
go down.
Oh, that'd be sweet to get a monkey and an organ. You could
Mhm.
grind the monkey and the organ and go around the place.
Monkey
There's a.
monkey meat.
Did you know they used to have the organ
Um,
grinders with the monkey? Have you ever seen that old thing?
no.
Yeah, they had
Uh,
people that would stand on the corner and they would play like a little organ where they crank this crank and it just makes music as you turn it.
uh-huh.
And the monkey would be on a leash with a cup and people would put money in the little cup and then that's how the guy would make money.
Huh. What a life.
I think it was a pretty common thing. I think every town had a monkey and an organ grinder.
That'd be a good movie these days.
It'd be a
Maybe a
great.
silent film.
I think it'd just be a great thing to have. No, there's too many animal rights people. But if you could get a midget to wear a monkey costume,
Or just CGI monkey.
there
They
midget
have
rights
the
people
technology these days, yeah.
besides midgets, is there other people sticking up for them,
Yeah.
like people that are tall enough to matter? I can make like me and you can make short jokes. They can't see us. Me and Charlie are both essentially midgets.
Yeah.
Like it would be comfortabler if I was a midget because then people would look up to me. They'd be like, "He's a tall midget."
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm just a small human. You're pretty. How tall are you, Charlie? You might
Probably
grow a little.
5'2", 5'3", I don't
You
know.
might grow a little taller. You might end up being 5'5" when you're. I'm gonna be 6 foot when I'm grown up.
It'd be nice to be able to see over the audience sometimes.
Sometimes. We should do the thing where we should start dressing you more like a child, Charlie. You need to use some nair, get rid of that. I don't know, you got that 5 o'clock shadow no matter what you do. You have the Homer Simpson face.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things. It's
My
not a
comedy's
bad
a
thing.
lot like that too. I do the dope,
Dope,
dope.
dope. I done stepped in some shit.
Yeah. That's kind of how my comedy is. It's just the dope.
Dope. It
Yeah.
is dope. Your comedy is good, Charlie. Don't put it down. It's good. Just keep doing it. It'll get better. and
That's a
better.
good metaphor for it, though.
It is a good metaphor for it. It is a good metaphor. Well, at least we're losers, though. Thank God we're at the bottom of the rung. You know what? People tell us the truth. Like, when you see rich people that are doing some shit, and they shouldn't be, like, it's like, come on, nobody's going to tell this guy that he
Like
shouldn't
Donald
be doing
Trump,
this?
right?
Yeah, like Donald Trump. I'm sure some of his friends aren't leading him the right way. Goddamn dickhead. Just did the Jerusalem thing and declared it like the capital of Israel.
Yeah.
Made a bunch of Jews happy and Arabs mad.
I just triggered you. You just went
You did, because I
away.
don't like war. I hate the thoughts of war, Charlie. It's the one thing I'm
Yeah.
terrified of. Like, we've been at perpetual war forever. It just keeps going on. Like, I
It's
want
gonna be
people to get
difficult to
along.
do this podcast when there's bombs going off.
It would be.
in the
The
background.
internet would be difficult to keep up with bombs going off. Everything would be difficult. It's difficult to have art and life and love when fucking war is going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes the counterculture that war inspires, like the hippie nation and stuff, is beautiful. But, like, I feel like we can be inspired without the war. We don't need the war to have the counterculture and the, enjoy. Like, we're going that way anyhow. It's going to be the point pretty soon where robots are building robots that build us stuff. And ain't
Yeah.
nobody got to go to work. And we're all going to have to work on our podcasts or paintings or trimming our toenails or something. Like, that's where it's headed. That's where the world is really headed if we can stay away from war. It's headed
We'll
to a
have
really...
robots that are monkey robots. Robots
Monkey?
that are monkeys. So we'll have two
once
types
there's
of
robot
monkeys.
monkeys, organ grinders will make a comeback.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. We need to stop this
There's some
podcast
things
almost
to look
right this
forward
minute
to.
and try to build a monkey robot in this garage instead of fix your car. Feels way more prudent.
Yeah.
You just made me like. On here, have you ever seen Weird Science? The movie that old movie Weird Science.
No, I
God
don't
damn,
think
you
so.
haven't seen any old movies. I'm not going to give you that one as homework. I'm just going to tell you about it because I just said we're going to build a monkey. These two dorks decide that they're going to build a girlfriend because they can't get one. So they like hack the government's computers using like old Tandy computers and modems and like phones that hung up with like rotary dials and shit. Like they use some super old computer tech, like 1985 computer technology. And like use some alligator clips and Playboy models, Playboy magazines, and a little Barbie doll, and they like made this contraption and hacked government computers and shit. Next thing you know, somehow they built a woman that came out of this pod that they created because they were a couple of high-tech dorks. I don't think you could pull that storyline off today necessarily, but for some reason in the 80s, people bought that shit. So this girl came out. She was super hot, some fucking model chick at the time. She was hot
Pranking
as
women.
fuck, too. And then she came out of the closet
I've seen
thing,
a few.
and she like had powers,
Right.
and she could do magic shit, and she put a huge party on for him, and ended up disappearing at the end and taught him a lesson that it was them the whole time or something. It was like a Jiminy Cricket, but with weird sex in it or something. It was a weird fucking movie.
Huh.
But they built a woman, just like I want to build a robot monkey.
Yeah.
But I don't think I can build a robot monkey, so I won't start it. But I didn't think I could do comedy, and I'm 1 year in now, Charlie. I'm proud of that. I am proud of that.
Yeah. I'm
Well, December, I'll be
Whatever.
a year in.
whatever years.
You're a little ways in. You started young, which is good. It's good that you started young.
Yeah.
You got a long.
Finally getting some stuff done now, though.
You got a lot
Doing some
more
cooler
ability to
stuff.
learn comedy. Like my little comedy roots are all prison, so I mean, like I got some opportunities when I was young, in a way, to do comedy because I was like entertaining the yard or the day room or the chow hall. I was talking shit, trying to get the floor, or whatever. You're like in there, whoever's the loudest or the funniest or the meanest can get the floor. And I was never the meanest or the loudest, so I had to try to be the funniest, you know?
Yeah, mine was plays and musicals and
Well,
marching
you've been
band
doing
and
stand-up,
writing.
too. When did you start doing, when do you think you did your first open mic comedy thing?
It was just after I turned 16.
See, most people that would not believe that
And that was
someone that
because
age
of,
would go do that.
yeah, that was because of the plays and theater and stuff. And I
Who
and I
pushed it? How'd you get
broadcast
pushed into it?
sports.
How'd you even find out there's an open mic?
I looked it up. I started learning about it on a website called Reddit.
Oh, you had the
started learning
internet when
about,
you were
yeah,
young, too. See, that's a
stand-up.
nice blessing for people.
About the open mic circuit you have to get through and all that stuff. I try to learn as much as I can.
Like, it kind of, like, the internet can teach you to be a comedian. It can teach you to do anything, but it definitely would teaches you how to start paying your dues in the comedy world, so to speak, and going and eating bags of dicks at open mics for other comics and stuff.
Yeah, and I was writing and getting critique and such
And
on
learning how
Reddit.
to take it. Because sometimes I know that was a problem for me for a minute. Like, I have to admit, like, it wasn't like I was a dick about it. I definitely internalize it totally. But people would critique me and be 100% fucking right. And just only be trying to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And then inside, that little asshole that lives in all of us, I'm sure, to some degree, would be like, "Dog, that motherfucker's just jealous or something." You know, like, you just get that dirty thought once in a while when people are giving you a critique. Because it's like, are you hating on me? But it's not. It's a totally different thing. When you're into performance, it's a totally different thing. When people hate on you in life, you know they're critiquing. Like, the critiques you get for that kind of shit, you know, like, you let your daughter eat gluten or something. You know what I'm saying? But comedy critiques, you need to take that shit. Because people are trying to help you usually when they're talking to you.
Yeah, you just got to detach from whatever emotions you might
And
have
it means
from
they
it
care
sometimes.
enough about you to say some shit. That's what I'm saying about some of these rich people.
Like sometimes when you have a bad set, you just got to not worry about the feelings as much and think about the thoughts and what you could do better with it.
Exactly. Be like, oh, that was a bad set. What can I learn from this shit?
Yeah, and with the good sets, somewhat you can enjoy that.
Like, I learned from
enjoy
my
the
failures in
feeling,
every aspect
but
of life.
not
To not appreciate and enjoy your failures,
do
like,
it
you
too
shouldn't
much,
jump
yeah.
around like a goddamn idiot every time you fuck up, you know, and be like, yay, but you should appreciate your failures in life because they do teach you.
Yeah.
So bombing is a failure, and it teaches you. I appreciate it. The fucking bucket fell off of my tractor when I was snow blowing today because I'm a
I spilled
dumbass and
coffee
didn't
on
put it on
myself
the right.
today.
Did you spill some coffee on yourself today?
Yeah.
See? You fuck up and you learn things. You learn lessons, Charlie. You learned not to spill coffee on yourself, didn't you?
No, because I've done it before and I'll do it again.
You're just a rebel. You're a rebel with that spilling your coffee. You don't give a fucks.
No, I know I'll probably do it again someday. So
the best way of waking up is Folgers on your nuts.
Yeah.
That's like a little ditty. Have you ever heard the best way of waking up is Folgers in your cup? Remember that little commercial? The world is missing that too now. They used to, like, commercials, they used to beat you over the head.
I'm actually trying to get into that business as well.
I don't want to get into the commercial business.
I'm talking about
Oh, you could be in the commercial jingle business?
Yeah, commercial music.
So
if because you don't hear too much R&B in commercials. It's more normally what I would describe as shitty music, whereas mine isn't shitty.
True, they do have some shitty commercial music.
Yeah.
But jingles are fun. Back in my day, like, they beat you to death with 3 stupid fucking channels, and they just played commercial after commercial, so we would all learn the commercials. Like, everyone knew every commercial. It was like meow 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 meow.
Well, that's pretty easy to remember.
That one does have only one word.
Yeah.
It's very, it's very zen. That is a very zen. That's a very calming song. I just recently found out that there's a group called Run the Jewels. You know who they are?
Yeah.
Like a kind of like a hip hoppy, like, they're definitely alternative-y, kind of cool. They make cool fucking music. If you haven't checked out Run the Jewels, check them out.
Yeah,
even though they sound like some kind of like B&E artist or something.
They sample.
They sample a lot.
They're kind of trying to do what I'm doing.
They're trying to keep up with Charlie Romantic, but I don't know if they're going to, Charlie. I don't know if they're going to be in the same league. But they remade one of their albums completely with meows.
Huh. I think I heard about that, actually.
Yeah, the whole album. Every song, meow for meow. They made the whole thing over.
That's edgy.
9 out of cats go crazy when you play it and don't like it at all. And the other cat is a white, blue-eyed one that's deaf.
Yeah, it's cool to see all the influence that my album is having on all these other artists.
Yeah, you really have sent a ripple through YouTube, haven't you?
Yeah. I think I've
I seen that new
200
tattoo
views.
Justin Bieber had.
200
Definitely
views
had
on one of the
a
songs.
bromantic influence. I felt like Charlie Bromantic
Yeah.
had a little influence on his tat.
I had
the
200
design of
views,
it.
and I think most of those are from Hollywood.
Yeah, most of your views are from Hollywood.
Because I don't really hear much about it from here.
Yeah.
Nobody really talks about it that much around here, but
Probably a lot of
it's
Hollywoodian.
viral over there.
Yep, it is viral.
Just like AIDS might be
Yeah.
over there.
It is. It's like something you want to put in a syringe and shoot your enemy with.
Yeah.
No, your music is okay, Charlie. At least you make it.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
you make it.
Yeah,
Does
you
your
know,
roommate ever
you
look at
just
you
get
like, what the fuck
into
are you doing in there?
you just get into a place where, yeah, sort of the thing with him is that he basically calls me a faggot when I'm
Yeah.
making this, but
He's like, why don't you got a fat guy with an acoustic guitar and a big hat?
well,
That's
he
real
wants
music.
he wants to play the guitar, so I'm saying learn some R&B, and maybe we could make a band. But
Yeah,
the problem
he needs
with
to get
him
with
is
the
that
program. It sounds like to me.
the problem with him is that he always wants to be the band leader,
Oh.
and I've created this movement with this music, and I can't
And he
not
has
be
a-
the band
he has
leader
a
now.
problem taking
Yeah.
second groupies. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to take the second choice.
He's not as
groupies.
humble as I am,
He
so
wants
I have
first pick
to.
at that corral of groupies over there.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
is that a fucking like about groupies, Charlie? You want to hear some crazy shit? This is gonna make you jealous.
Okay.
It doesn't. It shouldn't make you jealous. If you're a decent human, it almost shouldn't make you jealous. But I was at a concert one time, Atmosphere. You know the rapper, white
Yeah,
rapper, Atmosphere.
yeah.
I was at his concert, and one of the little dudes that like opened for him, his name was Greaves, and he's
Yeah,
not a
I've
very
heard of
yeah,
that.
he's not a very big time guy, but he's medium. You know, he's got a couple albums out and shit. Well, he finished his set, and like it was very obvious that he sent like a bouncer over into the audience to ground up like these 3 hot chicks that were doing the hey pick me thing and walk them to the back. And so I watched the bouncer come get these 3 hot chicks from me and like walk them back to the back of the stage, and I seen like Greaves pointing to go get those girls, okay, from like behind the stage because I had a position where I could see this happening. And then all of a sudden the next artist came out and he was playing for a while, and he got almost done with his 3 or 4 songs that he was going to play before the headliner came out, of the main act, Atmosphere. And those girls came out from behind the curtain, back out into the audience with their hair a little bit disheveled, and stood near me again. And I thought, somehow that guy that just was up there rapping got these 3 girls to have a security escort them to the
Interesting.
back, where he messed up their hair for no good reason. He likes giving noogies. I bet you that's his thing, is he gives his fans noogies. I never thought of it till now.
My
I bet you gave
roommate
those
is
3
almost
girls
my
noogies.
bodyguard, and he's kind of a noogie guy.
He's a noogie kind of guy. He could go
Yeah.
pick 3 girls and bring them back and give them noogies. And all right, go on
Yeah.
back out in the audience now that I'm done giving you noogies.
Yeah.
What a walk of shame those 3 girls had to take, though, from back. Like, they didn't seem like they were shamed, but I had a feeling, like, it felt like there was some shame in the air.
Well, there's some confusion.
At least they got to
maybe,
catch
some
the end act,
subconscious.
though.
And catch some diseases. Yeah.
Probably. Probably. I don't know. But 3 noogies in the backstage. So that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of bad shit that like this weird Me Too movement that's going on is a good thing, but I think women need to step up to the plate a little bit too and take some responsibility once in a while. Like, I'm not blaming the victim at all. Like, the people that have been grabbed and molested and shit like that. But I'm just saying, like, women need to start giving the good guy some play is what I'm saying. Like, give the nice guy some play. The guy that's sending bouncer to pick 3 of you up and bring you back, don't give him play. The nice guy that bought you the dress and paid for your hairdo and is probably out front getting the drinks, give him the play. Give the nice guy the play for once. That's kind of our society has created a lot of assholes. And now we're dealing with the fallout of that.
Well, at the same time, you were also saying that it's nicer now than it was.
Oh, it's way better. It's way better. Like I was telling you earlier, in 19...
Well, maybe that just the bad sticks out more now because
the bad
of
does
that,
stick out more
people
because
are
it's
trying to
like
be-
okay to be nice. When I was your age, Charlie, or a little bit younger, when I was a teenager, like it literally, I know people that are at least 40 listening to this will collaborate with me. Like in the 90s and shit, it was not cool to be nice at all. Like it was not cool to speak out against a bully. It wasn't cool. Like, it was way cooler to go stand with him and laugh at the kids. And, like, I know right now in society it's like really hip and trend to be like, well, back then I was the one that actually was standing up for the. But it wasn't. There's so many people saying that can't be true. Because when the school I fucking went to, the amount I got picked on, there wasn't a bunch of Captain Save-A-Hoes running around. Trust me.
My
I got
school
stuffed
too,
in
though.
too many
It wasn't-
goddamn trash cans with no motherfucking nothing but laughter and cackle. You know what I mean? Like, there was no. Back in the day, back in the 90s and shit, people were cold-blooded. Like, it was a. Like, school is still a shitty place, I'm sure, but there's a lot more love in today's society. in
Yeah, I
America.
guess it is toned down. I've never seen anyone stuffed in a trash can.
Yeah. Like, if you just watch some old movies and you see it, like, they make it like it's a normal thing to, like, wedgie the nerd and throw him in the trash can. Like, almost like how and you know what it's going to be like? It's like how people look at the old Looney Tunes now and they're like, look at those racist-ass cartoon writers with the crows and the talking about the, Jews and stuff. Like, they were horrible. Like, they had a lot of hidden racism in the Looney Tunes shit. And, like, in the
Or the Three
90s,
Stooges.
there was a big
Just
shout against
violence.
racism necessarily. Like, the world was changing in that way where racism was getting stamped out way more. But still, like, being a dick was still really in. So people were shouting. But now, I bet you people start doing like they were doing the Looney Tunes where they're like, they're going to start doing that with old movies. Because some of these old movies that were like Porky's and like, I don't know, some of the frat house, like Animal House type movies and shit, if you really watch them, bullying was portrayed in a fucking real chivalrous way, Like, the bully didn't get his just desserts very often is all I'm saying.
Well, there's still a lot of humor where it's like um, insult humor and stuff like that.
Yeah, now
where you're
that's
making
fun.
fun of shit.
You can tell
But I
when
guess
someone
it's-
has a good heart and they're insulting.
Yeah, true.
You can.
But I mean, even in shows, a lot. That's a lot.
Oh
of
yeah, it
what
is fun for us to insult each other.
Making-
I love it. But
No,
that's
I mean, like television shows.
on television
Yeah.
shows. Yeah, well, yeah, and in our comedy shows too.
Uh,
But yeah,
yeah.
insulting each other is a thing, and it is kind of fun.
But I guess there's a good way
It
and a
almost
bad
is
way to do it.
irresponsible when you think about it in a way, isn't it? Now that we're really talking about it, breaking it down, it's almost like you almost have to paraphrase it or frame it so that kids, like, you're letting a kid watch a comedy show where like part of the act is for people to talk shit to each other. That's almost not cool, because that does kind of promote bullying in a way, doesn't it? I had never thought
It's
of it.
not
that
a great
way.
energy sometimes. Some of the stuff that's said, I try to stay out of it.
I do too. I like the roast. I do like roast.
That
I
is
like
cool,
the
where it's
cleverness of
planned
it, and I
and-
like when
yeah.
it's planned and people can take it in a good way. But I don't know, when people are mean to the audience, sometimes I can't take that.
Or if they're mean to the audience all the time, that's
Yeah, that's even worse. Like, being
Yeah.
mean to the audience is just not cool, man. They're there just for whatever. They got caught in the crossfire. They might have showed up. They might have came. Who knows? But being mean to them is real dickish. But blazing each other as comics, we got thicker skin, and I think we
Yeah.
come to expect that. But I almost think that's going to get stamped out too eventually, because that is kind of some bullying shit, Charlie, when you think about it. But I do like to tease your ass, because your head is too big for your body, Charlie. I can't help but talk about it once in a while.
yeah, it is. It's
It
heavy.
is a little too big.
I weighed it. It's like 20 pounds.
You're like, damn, if I could have this much head in real life, I'd be happy.
It's I'm 140, so 20 pounds.
20 pounds of
I'd
head.
be 120 if I didn't have a
You know how
head.
much they charge for 20 pounds of head in Detroit?
So
I don't know. If they charge by the pound, it'd be expensive. 'Cause there's fat hookers in Detroit. There's fat men dressed up as women in Detroit, Charlie. Don't pick up the girls in Detroit. All
Yeah.
right, well, this is number 40, Charlie. I should probably fucking wrap this episode up. How long have we been going?
a
Let's look at
special
our
one.
fucking ticker here. Oh, we're clicking up on a fucking hour, Charlie.
oh,
Anything you want
There
to tell
you
these
go.
fine people before we end this beast?
Have a good one. It's good to be here.
Have a good. And
It was
tell
a
your
special episode.
It was a special 40th episode. I'm glad it was the 40th episode. It was a cool episode. We talked about some cool shit. I don't know how funny
Yeah.
it was, but who cares? I'm going to post it anyhow. When
It
I
was
listen
pretty
to it,
deep.
a
You
lot of
got
times
deep.
I listen to these shows after we record them, and while we're recording them, it's not like I'm laughing right now. But I listen to the shit after we record, and I'll be like, hey, that's kind of funny.
hmm
You know, not to break my own arm, pat myself on
I
the
try to
back.
keep it serious.
You got to pat yourself on the back, son.
Promote the album, you know. Promote our
Keep it
comedy.
super serious. You got to keep it super serious, Charlie.
Yeah.
If not, people aren't going to respect you as the mayor one day.
Yeah, exactly. We need a few $100,000
Yep.
and somebody to start a Kickstarter.
Yes,
'Cause I'm
we
not
need
doing all
expensive
that
jeans. We
bullshit,
need to start
yeah.
off with designer jeans if we're ever going to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
We both wear too cheap of jeans, Charlie, for you to ever make office.
Yeah.
We need to fix our image right now.
I've got Levi's. I don't know what that is.
I
But
have.
I don't know if you ever see Barack Obama wearing Levi's when he was the president.
In 2018, I'm going to make it so that sweatpants are the other blue jeans.
Huh.
It's gonna make them okay again. I love sweatpants. That's what I have on right now.
So,
Look,
yeah.
sweatpants. I love them.
Oh, I thought those were. Jeez,
They
I thought
almost
those
look
were
like jeans. I
jeans.
know. Like I'm jealous of
Yeah.
girls what they get to wear. They got like the jean print yoga pants.
Yeah.
The yoga pants seem wrong to me too. That's another thing. Like a culture shock that happened to me in 10 years of being in prison. Like just wearing some yoga pants before I went to prison, you would have been considered naked.
Yeah, it's pitch black legs there. It's just naked.
It's just
basically
naked.
legs.
There's no panties
Basically,
under them.
yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah.
And it's terrible for me. They're wondering, like, girls that wear yoga pants are almost doing you a favor, but at the same time, it's torture. It's a beautiful.
How many of them do yoga?
Not many of them do yoga, I don't think. I don't even know why. Is that why they call them yoga pants? Is because people do yoga in them?
I just realized that maybe.
Maybe. I never really thought about it.
That's what they're supposed to be made for, but you know.
I kind of thought they called them that because you, like, had to do yoga to be able to, like, look decent in a pair.
Maybe.
Because, like, if you were just, I don't know. Otherwise, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what I thought they were. I guess they're for yoga. I've never been to a yoga. You ever do yoga, Charlie? You ever
No,
go do
I
some
haven't.
yoga? I've never been to a yoga class. When I was in prison for like about a year, and I got a hold of my mom, and I said, hey, I want to start doing some yoga. I was talking to a guy in there. He was a Buddhist. He was telling me about cool shit, and he told me that yoga would help me relax. Like, I was crazy as fuck, and like the Buddhist guy, he knew it. He was like trying to calm me down. And like I didn't go to church in there because it was all pedophiles. I didn't believe in the shit, and I didn't like it. So I met this Buddhist guy, and they don't have Buddhist services in there because Buddhists don't have like a preacher or like a Sunday or anything like that. So they don't really honor it in prison as a real religion. But I met this dude, and he's like, "Oh, you need to check out yoga, man. It'll help you relax, man." Because I was just like having anxiety. He could tell. He was helping me out. He was a good dude, you know. He taught me about meditation and shit. Anyhow, I called my mom. I said, "Hey, I need a book on yoga." I swear, I think it was like she thought I was coming out of the closet to her at first. Like that's how foreign yoga was to my hillbilly parents. She's like, "What?" But she was so cool. She went and got me a book, Charlie, and I'm not even making this up. It was called Yoga for Dummies. Isn't that funny? They have a book called Yoga for Dummies. It's in the For Dummies series, and she got it mailed up to me, and it had a bunch of shit in there about Hatha yoga, which is like the healthful, active yoga where you like stretch and breathe and shit, and it's more about like health than it is religion. And that shit was very healthy for me, but I never went to a class. I just read that book and did the poses in it and did what it told me, and I did that shit throughout my bit. It seems weird that I got out and never went to a yoga class, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do that one of these days. We should go to a yoga class, and then we'll report back on it on Man Sharpens Man. It can be both of our first experience. There's a hot yoga class right over by the Mexican restaurant, which is really weird that they're next to each other.
Yeah.
It smells like
Spicy
farts
food
and hot yoga over there. Just like Mexican farts and sweat.
You
And
just sweat it out over there.
that's what that
after
plaza is all about. It's just the strong odors. Strong odor plaza. So we'll go do hot yoga one of these days, people, and we'll report back to you on it. But for now, this has been the Man Sharpest Man. This is number 40. Thanks for listening. Tell your friends. Peace, pot, and microdot.